We talk about a lot of classics here, and there's one place where you can find them, and us together, bestclassicsever.com.
That's where you'll find many of our favorite underrated movies and shows. And they're kicking off a big holiday giveaway on December 3rd, where you can win free subscriptions and streaming devices.
So follow Best Classics Ever on social media and go to bestclassicsever.com to watch episodes of our show, The Matinee, streaming free in their Hollywood Canteen section.
Hello there. I'm Colleen.
I'm Anders.
And I'm Daniel.
We're three nerds that met through our love of science fiction and fantasy storytelling. Of course, one of our favorites is George Lucas's signature achievement, Star Wars.
And if there's one thing the internet definitely doesn't have enough of, it's nerds talking about Star Wars. So here we are with yet another Star Wars podcast, where each week we discuss one of the films in the current Star Wars canon.
From the sands of Tatooine to the levels of Coruscant, we cover it all. Yet another Star Wars podcast is available wherever you get your podcast and is part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
That's a raccoon, yo. What are you doing?
Feeding the raccoon.
It's a trash panda. When the three burglars thing happens.
Oh, and they're all saying the same line.
Yes. No, notice, Jeb, that when they put their hats on, I'm not going to be able to see facial expressions. So that's on you, man. That's on you. Okay, camera rolling.
Yeah, I get it. Can I get an interview about Betsy's wedding? No, anything but that.
Get lost.
Anything but that.
Get my hat.
Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you are listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the film simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or maybe don't love about it, but we always recommend you revisit it. You never know, you might find your own forgotten gem. If you enjoy our podcast, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Find us. Our podcast is available on all platforms with a backlog of over 100 episodes for your almost at it, for your listening pleasure.
Almost, but not quite.
I'm going to keep that blue in there.
Oh, wonderful. I'm sure everyone will appreciate that. What's going on?
Nothing. Just spending my days hunting down the serial killer that took my son. You know, the usual.
If you go back and listen to all your... After every time we do the opening and I go, what's up? You and your thing, it's always like, just spending my days. I bet you're spending your days a lot. After her son is kidnapped by a notorious serial killer, FBI agent Frank LaCrosse travels to Amarillo, Texas, where he believes the murderer is in hiding. Although officially taken off the case because of its personal significance to him, Frank continues to pursue the killer, causing concern for local sheriff Buck Olmsted. When another victim pops up at a nearby car garage, Frank knows that he is a blah, 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 blah. It's ridiculous.
The synopsis is long.
Yeah, it's long and it's stupid. So we're doing Switchback.
Frank LaCrosse hunts the serial killer that took his son.
Exactly.
Meanwhile,
No, that's not what it says here. It says Frank LaCrosse has a personal connection. Personal significance to him. Exactly.
Frank LaCrosse's son is missing. Meanwhile, two men travel across Utah.
All right,
through a bad storm.
I didn't ask you to do
the end.
Okay, I didn't ask you to.
The end.
I'm the synopsis this week. Okay, you did the opening. I did the synopsis.
Poorly.
That's because I can only do as much as the source material allows me to. Right. The movie's called Switchback. Runtime of 118 minutes. It's rated R. Production budget of $37 million. Whew. Release date was October 31st, 1997. Classic Halloween film to open up. Opening weekend at $2.7 million. Domestic and worldwide are the same, $6.4 million. So we're talking about a box office flop here.
A super flop, I believe.
$37 million. Oof. All right. Production company was Pacific Western Production. It's distributed by Paramount Pictures and Reicher Entertainment. I believe this is the last film that Reicher Entertainment put out because they actually shut down in July of 97.
They had a string of flops.
Yeah.
This movie was not the reason they shut down.
No.
Because this wasn't a flop yet.
Didn't help. October 31st also had Red Corner, which I actually like. And it's another weird. That's with Richard Gere, and he's in China and he's under suspicion, or he's representing somebody that's under suspicion, but he's a lawyer, something like that. Or I don't know, something like that.
I know of the movie.
It's actually a good movie. I liked it. He also went up against Boogie Nights, which is obviously something that we all know about. I hope. You had a limited release also as Critical Care. On the 7th of November, you had Starship Troopers. I don't know if anyone's heard of that. Mad City, which I saw in the city. Eve's Bayou, and Bean, the Mr. Bean movie. Do you watch the Bean movies?
I've seen Bean. I've seen some of the show.
I don't mind Rowan Atkinson. I just don't know if I like the Bean films.
Mr. Bean never makes me like laugh.
It's
out
a
loud.
British
Hilarious.
thing, probably. Maybe,
It's very British,
yeah, which is
yeah.
fine. But just I like Rowan Atkinson. He plays Mr. Bean, right? Yeah,
Yes.
but
It's just not my kind of humor.
Never got into the movies. On the 24th of October, that's just the week before, you had Gattaca. Which one's that?
That's the one with Ethan Hawke.
Okay, good. Life Less Ordinary. And Fairy Tale, A True Story. Never heard of Fairy Tale, A True Story.
I think I know the name, but yeah.
Life Less Ordinary, I've seen. I actually don't mind that.
No idea what that is either.
That's with Ewan McGregor, right? No.
I said I have no idea what it is.
Is that Ewan McGregor? Whatever.
Continue.
What's up?
Continue.
Written and directed by Jeb Stewart. He has directed only one other film, Blood Done Sign My Name, but he has written quite a few, such as Die Hard. Have you heard of that? Leviathan, The Fugitive. Remember we did U.S. Marshals a couple weeks ago?
We did.
There you go.
Nice.
And another 48 Hours. Cinematographer was Oliver Wood. He has done Die Hard 2, U-571, Rudy, and Step Brothers. Composer was Basil Polidorus, who passed away in 2006. He has done Red Dawn, The Hunt for Red October, and Serial Mom, to name a few. Edited by Conrad Buff IV. He has won an Oscar for editing for Titanic. He was nominated for Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and he more recently edited the movie Infinite that's on Paramount Plus, starring Mark Wahlberg. Produced by Gail Ann Hurd, she has produced a variety of movies, including Armageddon, Dick, The Abyss. I don't know why I hit Dick there. Aliens, and a movie we did a couple weeks ago, The Ghost in the Darkness.
Nice. I like your callbacks.
Thanks, man. So we have Dennis Quaid as Frank LaCrosse. He has been Frequency, The Rookie, Inner Space, and the TV show Fortitude. Danny Glover.
You couldn't bring it back to the movie we did for Forgotten Cinema with him.
Go for it.
Can't remember.
Oh, so slick. What movie? No, you got to tell me.
Oh my God. Poison Dude. I don't remember the name.
DOA.
DOA.
Wow.
I forgot the name
Smart
of it.
ass.
I just know you didn't name the movie.
Well,
you're doing so well on callbacks.
Danny Glover as Bob Goodall. He's in Lethal Weapon, Silverado, Witness, and Predator 2. Let me ask you a question. If I bring up Danny Glover to somebody, do you think they only know him from Lethal Weapon?
Yes.
Is it right?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, I which is baffling, but yeah. Anyways,
I mean, he's been in a ton of stuff, but
I would hope everyone has seen the other movies I listed. Well, Predator 2 maybe.
Lethal Weapon is such a classic.
Well, he's from all, when I say Lethal Weapon, he's in all four. But like,
Right.
He's good in Witness, Silverado. He's good in a lot of stuff. And I'd even say, what's the one? Is it Arizona? Where he's the tow truck driver. There's one where he's like, it's a vignette and takes place in LA. It's with Steve Martin. Was that called Arizona?
I know what you're talking about.
That wasn't LA Story. Is that LA Story? No. Man, I'm old. I just remember him being a tow truck driver. And it was something to do with his family. That's his storyline. Whatever. You looking it up?
I'm trying to. He's got so many credits.
Well, that's the thing. When I was going through Danny Glover's credits, I was like, I knew a lot of the movies he was in. But then I started wondering, I wonder if people don't know this. I wonder if they only know him from Lethal Weapon. Because he's almost synonymous with Murtaugh. Like, that's how people know him.
And he's also in Saw, but I don't think people remember him in Saw. They think of just.
I don't even remember him in Saw.
He's the cop chasing down Jigsaw.
I just remember Cary Elwes.
That's the thing. Everyone just remembers Cary Elwes.
I guess that's the scene you always see.
Yeah. It's definitely not called LA Story because that is not on his credits. I forgot he's in Maverick. Harriet the Spy.
Oh, that's right. He's in Maverick because he's friends with Mel Gibson.
Well, yeah, but I don't see the movie Arizona on here.
I might be wrong. I might be absolutely wrong.
But holy crap, the amount of movies he's in. Prolific. People might also remember him in Jumanji now. Younger people now.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The new one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to find this
3
movie.
a.m.
I already found it. It's Grand Canyon. That's the name of the movie, not Arizona, but I was right. Almost. Grand Canyon. The fates of several people are intertwining randomly. Their sympathy of each other faces multiple differences in their lifestyles. That's right. That's right. I knew it. Directed by Lawrence Kasdan. I might go back and watch that.
Well done.
No, I remember, you know, what's funny is that's it's a drama. And so I remember watching it and I'm younger and I was like, wasn't really into it.
Right.
But I might've been too young for it. So I might want to go back to that. I'm gonna write that down. I know it. Grand Canyon. All right, good. Back to the show. What are we talking about?
We're talking about Switchback.
Arlie Ermey as Sheriff Buck Olmsted. He passed away in 2018. Gone too soon. Full Metal Jacket. Obviously, everyone knows him as that. Seven, Mississippi Burning, and a movie that we did that Butler's going to forget when I look at him and point. There you go. You got it. Woo! And The Frighteners. Ted Levine as Nate. If Ted Levine's voice sounds familiar, it's because you saw him in Silence of the Lambs. He plays the Jamie Gunn, the killer.
He's also Stottlemyre on Monk.
I was about to get to that, dude.
I thought you were done after
No, I was. He's also in Monk, the TV show. Jerk. Not him, Butler. He's also in Heat and The Report, which is the Amazon film where they're about 9/11.
Oh, yep.
Jared Leto as Lane Dixon. He has won an Oscar for his role in the Dallas Buyers Club. He's also in Suicide Squad, not the Suicide Squad, but Suicide Squad and Requiem for a Dream. My note here about Jared Leto is, wow, Jared Leto not being weird.
Yeah, he's got a regular haircut and he's a regular guy.
William Fichtner as McGinnis. He is in Black Hawk Down. I didn't realize he's on the TV. I knew he was on the TV show Mom. I didn't realize he was on it for so many episodes. He's also in The Lone Ranger, which is a movie that we did and a movie that I like a lot. And he's also in Drive Angry. And then a young Walton Goggins as Bud, as Butler texted me as he was watching the movie.
Yeah.
He's in the TV show Justified, The Shield, and the movie Hateful Eight and Fat Man, which you should check out, which is pretty good. All right. This is another movie that I saw that Butler did not, right?
I have not seen this. I was 10 when this came out, and obviously it was an absolute flop, so
go.
It disappeared. I like it a lot, but I also know that I like it a lot because it's very 1990s, like late 90s thriller, which I really like those kind of films, but I also know that it does have a lot of problems. But I do like the way it tells its story, or the basic bones of the story. I like the two stories being told, and I like the way they present Bob. And I like that kind of, this is pre-Dexter, all that kind of stuff. I like that hidden serial killer kind of way. And our focus is really on Bob for quite a bit of the film. And I like a lot of that. And I like the relationship between Bob and Lane, Jared Leto's character. There's a lot of stuff that works. I really like Arlie Ermey's character because you think that Sheriff Buck's going to go one way. You think you know how that story's going to play out, and it really doesn't play out that way. And I enjoy a lot of that kind of stuff, but it does kind of devolve as the movie goes on to like a rote thriller. And it does kind of, I think, have a couple of missteps in terms of Bob and the reveal of Bob and the relationship between Bob and Lane toward the end. I think kind of goes like pretty generic, kind of ruins it a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely, to your point, it's definitely a movie rooted in the 90s. It's definitely got that 90s feel. Jeb Stewart is obviously somebody who's worked on, Die Hard, those big action 90 films. So you definitely feel that that style of action, that style of, I love the way 90s nighttime shots are done, because it's like, especially when they're at the street. Yeah, they got the huge 5Ks in the back and they're just lighting up everything and everything's clear. And it's like, I'm okay with it. I like it. I'm like, because compared to now, what you got now, not so much in movies, but more in the TV shows, there is this fad or predilection now to shoot, to set up a shot, and everything in the center is in focus, and everything outside of that falls off out of focus. And it is so just, I don't like it. I mean, I like it if it's telling the story within the story. It's helping tell the story within the film that you're watching. Right. But I don't get this like fascination with only keeping a limited focus on whether it's one person, two people, a section of the frame. This is more so in TV shows or streaming movies. Right. Than it is in maybe feature films, or maybe it's coming. Maybe I just haven't noticed it as much. But I do appreciate these movies in the 90s where it's just, it just looks good. I don't know. I have no good critical way of saying this, but it just looks good. So I do appreciate that. It's definitely rooted in the 90s. It does feel like two short films simultaneously happening concurrently as you're moving along. There's a little bit more, and to that point, there's a little bit more of an interest in the Bob and Lane stuff. There's a lot more going on there than there is with the Frank and Sheriff Buck and all that stuff.
Well, because I think Sheriff Buck has a nice backstory. I think Frank is very one note. I think Frank is the worst character in this film, and that's not Dennis Quaid's fault.
No, that's just how he's somebody who's on the hunt for somebody who stole a son.
Yeah. He's also not very emotional. He's not.
No,
very
correct.
Human. I mean, as I'm watching this, my note for Dennis Quaid is Dennis Quaid should be playing this era of Dennis Quaid should be Batman.
Oh. Well, would you have been okay with Frank LaCrosse played by Steven Seagal because he was considered for the role?
I saw that note and I was like, no, that would have been so much worse.
Could you imagine just Seagal being like, how about I just have some hand-to-hand combat with this guy right
Absolutely.
now? Absolutely. It would have been bad. It would have been bad. And I know why they considered him, because this is after Under Siege, and Under Siege was a big hit. Big hit. But like that was really his only big hit. That was the only movie that he was in where it was like
everything else is like
good.
Maybe medium, but yeah.
One of the things I do appreciate in this film is that the end is the stunt work at the end on that train when they're fighting.
Oh yeah,
that was impressive. And that's probably where a lot of the budget went, but that was impressive. And I think that's another staple of 90s action films, those kind of stunts.
Oh yeah, because you don't mind that it's stunt guys. Like there's the one where they hit the shed as Bob and Frank are fighting on the wing of the train.
Yeah.
And they hit the shed, and the stuntman playing Bob clearly almost falls off that train. And I'm just like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm sure the train's going slower than it was depicted as, but it's still a moving train.
Right. So I guess let's take it
one step at a time.
No. Let's take each story on its own as we go, moving forward. Yeah. So let's go to the Frank stuff. So he shows up. And he's not smiling. He's morose. You've got. I didn't understand when they went into the hotel room and they had this big murder. I was kind of, not that I was lost, but I was just like, what's happening? Like we're like they started off the story like I knew what already happened. Like I knew these people.
Right. I mean, they do explain that they were cut, down near the genital area.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, so it's the same guy that killed the nanny in the house at the beginning. But
well, that's when Frank shows up and he explains that to him. This is in the beginning when Frank's not there and it's just Sheriff.
But as the audience, we know that the killer.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I was like, okay, it's the same killer, but I don't. They're telling like, I think he went here and then the maid came in, and I was like, what? Can you rewind?
Yes.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They're just like, all right, murder. You're on it. I got it.
Somebody murdered these people. Somebody was sleeping in this bed. Like and this is the second time I've seen this movie. Mm-hmm. I didn't even put the connection that Lane was in that bed and he left.
Oh yeah, me neither.
Yeah. And mind you that, okay, fine. That's what you want to say. Cause they do have a flashback at the end of the movie and you do see
Lane
the Bob Goodall. Yeah. You see Lane, you see Bob, like he talks about how he was following him and he goes in there and steals that guy's money and kills everyone, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. They're checking the bed and he's like, bed's been clean. We don't have no hairs, no anything. Right. It's like, check it again. But they check it again, clearly. So they didn't find anything, right? Because they never go back to it. So I'm like, so are we saying that Bob vacuumed the bed so that...
How did they find the hair? Where do they find the hair?
For what? For...
The hair they get the DNA from. The hair was from the bed.
Oh, I didn't get that. See, that's the thing. I must have missed that.
It's all very sloppy. It's all very like, okay, the hotel and that's why it's almost like a crutch is why you need Bob to start explaining everything. I went to the hotel. I took this money and I still don't really get it. I was like, all right, so hold on. Let me track this. So he tried to pick him up before he went with the family. Then Lane went with the family. The family dropped him off. And then he went with another couple who was killed in that hotel room.
Yes.
And then Lane left that couple earlier.
Because he didn't want to go have dinner. He wanted to keep what? Well, they were obviously trying to have you try to figure out who the killer was.
But then that couple in the hotel was probably the people that beat up the miners then. Because how does that also doesn't tie into the story.
The couple in the hotel?
The people he kills in the motel.
Those are just people that he was going with.
So who beat up the miner?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Exactly. It's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you're right. There's like that. That's like a whole thing. Yeah, Well, I think they were trying to get you to. You didn't know who the killer was.
Oh yeah, you don't know who the killer is. Lane seems nice, but he's also very mysterious. Mm-hmm. He might have beat up this miner, so maybe he is the guy.
Yeah,
you're looking for someone with brown hair in their 20s to 50s, whatever. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they're playing that up, and you don't think Bob's maybe the killer.
Well, let's go back to Frank LaCrosse. Let's go back to that stuff because he shows up. He says he's a special agent. Then you find out that he left his post in Philadelphia to go do this because he's trying to track down who took his son. I found it very what's the word I'm looking for? Not inconsiderate, but I thought it was very over the top. Maybe that the FBI had like zero interest in Frank's emotional health.
Oh, absolutely. They're like clearly the bad guys.
It was like just because his son has been kidnapped and they've closed the case and they're about to go down there and arrest Frank because he left his post, not understanding that his son, he still thinks his son's alive and you took him off the case. And it's almost like they're assholes because that's what's in the script and that's what I need to do.
They have to not believe the killer's still out there. I'm sorry. How do you not believe the killer's still out there? He's only not killed for 3 months. It's not like he hasn't killed for years.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so you're just kind of like ignoring the fact that there's still a serial killer out there.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, yes, Frank needs to be taken off the case. I get that. Like there are rules. But they act like there's not really a serial killer, that the killings are nothing.
Yeah.
And they make a big joke about it. That Frank, he's just crazy.
Yeah.
And they're super inconsiderate to the cops and stuff. They're like above.
Well, I get, there's always that kind of pushback between local authority and the feds. I get that. And some movies and shows kind of do it justice. Like there is that they still got to work together, but there is that like we're taking over this case, that kind of thing. But this is just completely over the top. Like I'm going to have you arrested, and like
this is worse than Die Hard. And I always thought Die Hard was over the top when the feds come in, and this is just like, come on.
And I'm sorry, but if the feds come in and they're going to arrest the sheriff, it's like, I'm going to tell you right now, they're not doing that because the local law enforcement are like, you ain't coming down here telling us what to do, especially out west. You ain't telling us what to do, and the government's going to be like, yeah, let it go.
Yeah, they're not going to go put your own sheriff in his own jail.
Yeah, exactly. That's
No one's doing
ridiculous.
that.
Exactly. That's ridiculous. So that in that regard, there's some stuff there that's just for the sake of script and for the sake of just moving the story along. Yeah. The Bob and Lane stuff when they're in the car. Now, I don't remember my first initial reaction watching this movie. So I don't remember me going back and forth going, who's the killer? I don't know. I knew it was always Danny Glover. So I didn't really. I'm curious, since this is your first time watching it. Right. Did you have any kind of hesitation in that regard?
No, I was pretty sure it was Danny Glover. Okay. I just didn't want it to be Danny Glover, but it's Danny Glover.
Well, at what point? At what point were you?
He really wants Lane in his car. There's no reason for that. There's no reason to go back to Lane after he's already kind of
when he's at the minors.
You could tell he's lying about the naked woman not being his, or not being his car, even though he admits it later. I just wanted you to be like,
which is a weird thing in this movie. The car. Yeah, I didn't get it. Like I didn't understand why. Like why have that?
Because he stole the car from a creep. He ended up with a creep car.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's just a way to, you know what makes this unique? Naked ladies all over it.
Yeah.
That'll get people into the butts in the theaters. If it's naked ladies.
Is that why it's rated
R? But yeah, it's just like from the get-go, he's got to be the bad guy. But then as you go, it's like at first Bob's a creep, but then he's like really nice and you kind of like Bob. And you like Bob and Lane's kind of traveling story. It's just like, I don't.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you buy, now I know that from all the movies that we've watched and stuff that we know, like, sociopaths are somebody that are
unfeeling.
Unfeeling, but they're good at masking who they are.
Sure.
Do you find his affability, his outgoingness, the way Bob is as a character, do you find that goes along the lines of a sociopath, or do you think that's more like, hey, this is how he is in the script and that's how it's going to trick everybody? Like, because he turns on it like
that's how he's just going to trick everybody.
Right.
I don't buy that Bob is as much of a sociopath as like
Dexter
or something. Yeah. Like, I don't believe he can turn on a dime. He's overly nice. Dexter's socially awkward. Bob is. Well,
there's an internal struggle with Dexter. Not to cut you off, but with Dexter, we get to witness the external struggle between him trying to. He can't control his demons. He's got to let him out in some way. Yeah.
But he's still always social. Like Bob is a sociopath.
Yeah.
And he's not trying to control his demons clearly, but yet he's also a really nice, affable guy. He took care of Shorty's kids when he has things like, so Bob clearly, and he didn't kill Frank's son.
Mm-hmm.
He kept his son safe. So like, he's clearly not as much of a sociopath as maybe you're led to believe,
but he kills these people real quick.
Exactly. And I don't believe that. I want to see, I can see him killing the nanny, whatever, because it's part of the game. The lady in the storefront, like need to fill that need.
Yeah.
And I get killing Shorty because Shorty's going to say, oh, that car went that way. He needs to kill him to keep himself covered.
See, no, I don't think that's. See, I'm going to ask you this. I don't think that's why he killed him. I think the reason why he went to Martinsburg to kill somebody because he needed Frank to go to Martinsburg so that he could see the 218 train to get on it. Because of that, no. Because
so he killed Shorty because he couldn't kill.
He had to kill somebody in order to get Frank there.
Right.
Which is like, that's a big stretch.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But that
even less.
That's the only reason that I can see him there. You know what I mean? Because he shows up, he stays at the hotel.
Right.
And then he sees the 218 and it's like, that's, so he was going to kill the girl and then he's going to end up killing, because to your point, if he doesn't want Shorty to talk, if he kills Shorty, he takes that photo off the wall. Because they show him with the photo of him and Shorty.
But he's pretty sure they're looking for a white guy, so he doesn't care. But
still, I mean, that, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I think he kills them because he needed to kill somebody in Martinsburg to get Frank there.
Well, that's still to my point. I don't believe he wouldn't have regret at least with killing.
I agree. I think that the character of Bob is a serial killer in the movie for convenience sake. Just kind of like, he's a serial killer, but it could be anybody. It's like, it could be, you know what I mean? He's not somebody that, I mean, we get to know Bob with Lane at the drive-in. Right. Like, we should know, there should be hints and clues. We should know that he is a dark soul.
Right.
And we don't. We only get that point. You're only supposed to get it when you adjust that picture in Shorty's garage.
Because he does it in the house.
Right. That's the only reason. It's almost like the director, Jeb Stewart, should have paused the movie. He should have popped out of the screen and been like,
winked.
A big thumbs up and like, this is it.
Yeah.
Point to him. He's the guy. Like that. That's what it felt like.
Remember when Jared Leto cut that guy? Well, that wasn't real.
Yeah.
This is the real thing.
Yeah. And you're supposed to assume that Jared Leto, because he knows his way around a knife, because he saves that guy in the diner, that, he must know how to cut femoral arteries.
Because Frank mentions that he might have some medical training. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
But at the same time, I really like Bob and Lane's story. I like their traveling together. I like their chemistry. I like.
No, it's definitely got moments. Yeah.
Like Bob stops the car to teach Lane he stops the car in the middle of a road, which he doesn't need to do, and tells Lane you should go back and be a doctor. Like you need to. And then at the end of the movie, he's easily kills Lane or tries to kill Lane. I assume Lane dies, but
see, now I didn't think he was going to kill him because I thought he told him. See, here's the thing. Here's what I have a problem with. Not a problem with, but I just have questions.
Right.
He tells Lane about the address of his son, which is clearly the Frank's son.
Because he
thinks Lane's going to survive.
Because the whole thing is Bob wants to be killed.
But why? That's my thing. Why?
Because you don't get that Bob doesn't. That's the other thing. You get no scenes where Bob regrets being a serial killer.
Right.
Where he's just like, I've done this for so long, I don't want to do it anymore. Because you don't get regret when he even kills his own friend Shorty. You don't get any regret of him doing these actions.
Yeah.
And you should get some regret of him maybe not even saying, I'm sad I'm a serial killer. But Bob saying, I've got regrets. I've done things I'm not proud of, and don't be that person.
Well, I think there's he's playing a game with Frank, like that. Oh, we're playing a game. He talks about that several times.
He absolutely is.
Right.
Yeah,
but he doesn't play a game with any of the other victims. He just kills them. So I'd like to see him at some point, if he's with the person he's going to about the serial killer, he gives them a choice. You can either do kind of in Seven, cut off your fat or
be a better person.
Right. Stuff like that. He doesn't do any of that because of the point with the game was he tells him, you got to let me go. You got to kill me if you want to get your son. And he drops him and he's laughing all the way down. And he only dies by happenstance, because there's a branch that's sticking out. He lands on it.
Well, I was pretty sure he was going to die either way.
He was rolling down a hill. Where was he going to die?
Into a steep ravine.
He was not. No, he was rolling down a snowy hill, and there was a river down there.
Yeah, but it was a steep river.
He seemed like he was. He seemed like he was having fun until he got stabbed with the giant tree.
Oh, I think he was still having fun when he got stabbed. I think he was ready to die. But you don't get that within the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand that.
I mean, clearly his note says he wants to die, but you don't get that from the rest of the character.
Mm-hmm.
But you like the character and you like the relationship with Lane and you like but you don't get enough of. There has to be a reason for him to stop the car and talk to Lane about you need to live, you need to be a doctor, you need to be a better person. Mm-hmm. That's not part of the game. And he doesn't need to do that because Lane's already stuck in the car with him.
But if why cut his throat? If he is...
Well, the thing, he kind of accidentally cuts his throat.
Okay.
But I mean, he still got the knife against his throat. It's still probably going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he only cuts his throat because Lane ducks for Frank to shoot.
Right.
Shoot at Bob.
Whatever.
That doesn't really make sense.
No, that's the thing.
Also, you would want to call back, you'd think, to the scene in the hotel room or the apartment building where Frank shoots the hostage taker.
Right.
and shoots him in the leg.
Mm-hmm. You think he'd shoot Bob in the leg?
You think you'd have the same like that was foreshadowing to what was going to happen later.
Right.
But you don't get that. He shoots right for Bob's head.
Right. Yeah. So then, so if you're willing to shoot him and kill him in the train car, why are you unwilling to let him drop
in the train
and off the train when he's like, you got to let me go? Why would you be unwilling? You already
know you have to kill him to get your son.
I think that there's a lot of really good pieces in this movie. Arlie Ermey's really good as Sheriff Buck Olmsted. Their interactions are really good. I even think they do the McGinnis and Olmsted stuff decent because it's like, you get that kind of like he's going to take over his job, but he's not a dick. He wants, you know what I mean?
He wants to be sheriff, but
right.
They're not bad cops.
Right. Exactly. They're just kind of, so you get that. I think the Bob and Lane stuff in the car, the conversations that they have are really good. I think the action is really good at the end. I like that. I think the location and the setting is great.
Oh yeah. The onset location.
Right.
Are really
I
good.
think even the stunt, and I want to talk about this stunt, but even the stunt where the car goes off the side of the hill and it gets stuck on a tree, like that's really good. So all that stuff is really well done. I just think it's clunky when you put it all together. It's almost like the glue has cracks and it's not really
absolutely.
It's a lot of that. And
it's an entirely watchable film that I was glued, not to use glue because it sucked, but I was like glued to the TV, like watching. I'm like, wow, okay. And then when it ends,
definitely keeps your attention.
Yeah. And at the end, I just have all these questions. And I'm like, why wasn't this better?
Right. It's all, and maybe we'll get to it when we talk about it being forgotten, but I want to go back to that stunt with the car.
Yeah.
So Bob's driving the car super fast and like why?
Snowy Mountain Pass.
Here's the thing. Why? Like, is he purposely trying to fake his own death? Like, that's what I thought.
At first, that's what I thought.
Because that's when he tells him his son's story. If anything should happen to me, take care of will you be a godfather to my son? Yeah, sure. And then he just starts going around the corners like hardcore.
I was waiting for a twist in the story where Bob kills himself so that Frank would hunt down Lane. That was the twist I was waiting for. I was like, okay, so we're done with Bob.
Yeah, I didn't understand what we were doing there. I didn't understand that. And again, if you're saying like, well, Bob has a death wish, Bob has this, you don't ever show any of that. You know what I mean? That's never set up for us. So that's all.
Bob kind of has a death wish when he goes to save Lane in the bar.
No, I think that's just something he's doing. I think he's just because if he followed Lane through the entire time, he was setting him up as a patsy or setting him up as somebody who was going to be involved with his stuff with Frank.
Right.
So he's going back to go get that guy, even though he dropped off the mine.
We know that. Yeah. At the end.
But then you have all that stuff with the miners and the guy getting beat up, and you're like, we were questioning that. Did you notice the guy that was punching him? You know who he was?
No.
Do you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
He's Mac's father.
Oh, is that Mac's dad?
I'm watching it.
That tracks.
I'm watching it going, oh man, who is this guy? I know this guy. And then immediately. Yeah. So yeah. But no, I agree with you. It's a movie that when you watch it, you're like, it's a watchable film. And it's a film that it's a good movie night film. It's not boring.
Right.
You're intrigued. But when you start going back to it, you're just like, it's not as good as I thought it was. You know what I mean? Like it does a great job of holding your attention and telling you this story. But unfortunately, the story is not fully connected.
It's what I like and I don't like are all these things we're talking about are pretty major plot holes.
Sure.
But they're almost like spackled.
Yeah, I hear you.
So you're like, oh, wow, okay, this place is like, you're like at home and you're like, this place is nice. And you go, wait, a lot of patches on this wall.
And you have to be willing to be okay with that.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's what this whole thing is. So many plot holes, but the movie is as a whole so good that at first you ignore them. And then you're just like, oh, fucking these spackled holes are pissing me off.
Yeah, no, I think I mean, I'm glad we went back to it. I'm glad I put it on the list because
I put it on the list.
Well, I meant like
you were annoyed when I put it on the list.
No. I put it on the big list.
No, I put it on the list.
No, the list for us to hear.
Yeah,
or the big list. I put it on the big list.
Maybe I know we talked about this movie on another episode, and then maybe I added it to the list. We added it to the list after that.
Okay, I don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But I'm glad that we went back to it because I always remember liking it. And I don't want to. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't like it as much. I still like it the same. Nothing changed, but I can't ignore what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
So would you have liked it? Because this movie. So just a little backstory on the movie.
So this a long time ago.
Exactly. This movie was written in the 80s.
This was his college script, right?
Yes, it was a script that he wrote during a college workshop program. This is Jeb Stewart. and it was going to be made in the 80s, and it was going to be with Sidney Poitier, Robert Duvall, and Kevin Bacon. I'm going to assume you know which parts they're playing.
Yes.
What do you think of that? I actually like that cast.
This is one of the
We're
first
big
times
Sidney
where you're
Poitier fans.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is one of the first times where you're like, would you like that better? And in this case, I don't know if I'd like it better,
But I'd want to see
but I'd
it.
also still really want to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like Danny Glover in this role, and I like Danny Glover in general.
Yeah.
But Sidney Poitier.
It's Sidney Poitier.
Sidney Poitier.
Absolutely.
Robert Duvall is Robert Duvall. I do think Robert Duvall would maybe try to do, as much as I like Dennis Quaid, more with the role.
I'm trying to think how old he is.
He would have been older than Dennis Quaid.
I think. I don't think he. I mean,
I think he would have been
listen,
too old for the role.
I like Dennis Quaid. I do, but he's one note morose in this movie.
He's Batman.
Yeah, and I think that Robert Duvall would have hopefully
Tried to
brought a little
elevate
bit
the
more
role.
layers.
Yeah.
Yes. And Kevin Bacon's probably hot, obviously off of Footloose and stuff like that. So
I think Kevin
yeah.
Bacon in the 80s would
He's
have
in
been the
everything.
exact same as Jared Leto right now.
Yeah,
I
think I don't think that character you really can't. There's really not much. You're there to be a red herring. That's your role.
You're young doctor guy.
Yeah,
That's all you're there for.
Jared Leto as red herring.
You're there to be thin in the shower scene when you're shooting at Bob. That's it.
Thin in the showers. That's what you're looking at. Nice.
Well, you know that's why he's there, because Jared Leto's just coming off of
My So-Called Life.
Yeah, My So-Called
No,
Life.
I got you. No, he's a young
I
star
guarantee you
in the
that's
making.
I guarantee you that scene's in the trailer or shot like that's in the trailer.
I don't know. Would you have liked this movie if it was called Zigzag?
No, I saw that. No.
Going West?
I do like that title.
Going West in America.
Going West in America.
Why do you like that title? I don't like that title.
Because they're just going west. I don't know.
Well,
It's just-
we know you do know what Switchback is. You know what a Switchback is?
No.
It's a zigzag course.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be reference to the fact that you don't know who's what. Like that kind of thing. They're going back and forth through the story.
Still hate it. Switchback is at least a little better than
Switchback.
I think Going West in America is an okay title because it is about the primary story is about the
but going
Bob
west
and Lane driving.
But Going West and Going West in America make me think I'm watching a drama like about the Oregon Trail. It doesn't make me think about an action thriller.
That's probably why they changed the name to Switchback.
Yeah,
That's a lot more like Switchback.
Exactly. Danny Glover, Dennis Quaid, Going West in America. Like that's what it feels like.
But see, if they made a whole movie about Bob and Lane, I would watch that movie. And I think maybe.
Well, then if you're doing just a whole movie of Bob and Lane has to be the hero. He has to take over some of the Frank stuff.
What if you don't know which one of them is the serial killer the entire movie until the end? And you like both of them.
How do you know who to root for? Oh yeah, you'd have that's gonna need some quality writing for you to do, basically.
Oh, I know. But there's so much quality writing within their road trip, and also so many plot holes. But if you take away some of those plot holes and you just make it more of that, I would like that more.
So I just envision that being like a 6-episode series, and we constantly have flashbacks a la Lost style for like their earlier lives, where we just have like, hey, where'd you grow up? And it's just like, boom, Decatur, and he's just like, you know, like that kind of thing.
I don't even know if you need that.
No, I think that's
a low budget movie, just two guys in a car.
Okay, go ahead. You writing that? Or am I writing that?
You're right.
Oh, yeah, no, shocker. So
I'm the idea guy.
Well, I guess, okay. Another thing about the movie. So this movie was shot in February of 96 to May of 96, obviously in Colorado and out west, up north. It was set to be released on Christmas of 96. Then it was pushed to summer of 97 and then pushed again to October 97. And the reason being because there was an abundance of action thrillers. What we just talked about it being steeped in the 90s. Which
is true because as I was going through the IMDb for Switchback, I was like, oh, that 90s movie. Oh, that 90s action movie. And I was like, oh, man.
Well, but here's the thing. They clearly
got it wrong.
No, not at all. They had high hopes for this movie because Christmas is a good release date. Summer's a good release. Not for this movie, but summer's a big release date.
Oh, for a movie, yeah.
And they didn't just give it October. They gave it Halloween, which is a weekend that is usually a big weekend, but it's not a horror film. So it's like that. But to be fair, it's probably the horrorest of films that are out that week because there's no other horror films. Not even like I just read them off. You didn't have a horror film before. You didn't have a horror film after. You didn't have a horror film on it. You had Boogie Nights at Red Corner. So you were like going up against, and you're an action thriller. So you're hoping you're going to pull that horror crowd on the Halloween weekend.
Make Mark Wahlberg's fake dong is kind of scary, I guess.
I'm not the king of my big dick. So I think Christmas 96, maybe it's not a Christmas film, but that's probably the perfect slot it had.
No, that's what I thought too. I think Christmas 96, you always get one like adult thriller and I think this is more of an adult thriller than it is like a straight up action thriller. I think summertime, this is not a summertime movie. There's a lot of cold scenery. It's a cold movie, but also it is a adult thriller.
Mhm.
I don't think it works there. And I don't think it works on Halloween. I think Christmas to March.
So Christmas in 96, which is what I'm looking for.
Yep.
You had on the 24th, you had I'm Not Rappaport, which is with Walter Matthau and Ossie Davis. That's a limited release. It's competition. On the 25th, you had Michael, which is the John Travolta I'm an Angel Falling from Heaven. You had Evita, which is Madonna, and you had Thieves, which is more of a I guess that's a foreign film. Yeah, it's a foreign film with Catherine Deneuve. And then you had on the 27th, you had The Evening Star, which was with Shirley MacLaine. You had The People vs. Larry Flint.
Mm-hmm.
You had Some Mother's Son, which is with Helen Mirren. You had The Portrait of a Lady. You had Mother with Albert Brooks. And you had Hamlet. Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet. So I'm trying to look for action thrillers here, and I'm seeing big movies, but I'm seeing no action thrillers.
But I think especially Evita and Michael are going to take away and maybe The People vs. Larry Flint are going to take away your Switchback audience.
Okay. You think?
I think so. Michael had a lot of buzz when it came out.
Yeah.
Evita also had a lot of buzz when it came out. So I think people are seeing those two. And I think The People vs. Larry Flint had buzz after its release, but
sure. I mean, but I should point out that the week before, which is the 20th, you had the movie Scream come out. So,
which is more of a movie.
But it's, I know, but that makes complete no. I mean, that tells you how much how big they felt about Scream. They put it towards Christmas.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, that's probably because it's a horror thriller kind of thing. That's probably its main competition in terms of competing against genre. But there's a lot of big hitters, obviously, always on Christmas season. And, we can always look back and be like, that didn't do so well. But like something like The Evening Star, it's Shirley MacLaine. I mean, it's a big film coming out. People vs. Larry Flint's a big film. It's just maybe this was going to do what it was going to do. A $37 million production budget, and you only make $6 million. That's tough. That's
a big flop.
Yeah, it is.
That's tough for people to recover from.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jeb Stewart only directed one other movie, so maybe that was what that. I mean, I don't think I thought he was fine. I didn't have any problem with any of the direction in terms of something that was just. I think maybe the reason why is because the production budget was so high. Whatever.
You didn't need the train fight. I mean, the train's cool, but I think that
the train fight
a lot to your stuff.
The train fight, the fight on the train makes the movie. It elevates the movie. It doesn't hurt the movie because of the stunt work.
I'm not saying
That's all. So if
I'm just saying in terms of budget,
and you're gonna have to have a final ending when they fight. You're gonna have to have that. You do want to see him get his son and go to Oakland and find the kid.
By the way, so they go to the address to get the kid.
Yeah, and he's
and
not
no one is there.
Yeah.
He's in the other house.
I don't know.
What is that?
There's Bob knows that he's gonna look for the blanket that's hanging on. He figures all this. There's all this happenstance.
There's no way Bob knows. She was just doing the laundry when she was doing the laundry.
And let's be honest. Sheriff Buck Olmsted's not making the trip to Oakland with Frank. It doesn't make sense. That's the FBI going there, or that's just Frank. That's not. It's Frank going. I mean,
he has no job anymore, so maybe
is that really what's happening? After he's proven them right, after he's caught the serial killer that they said didn't exist, after he's done what he was told not to do, and prove them wrong, he's going to lose his job.
I'm saying the sheriff.
Oh
no, no. There's no way Frank doesn't still have a job.
Yeah,
and in fact, could probably get his boss in big trouble.
His boss,
by my guess.
Yeah,
so you took me off a case, and everything I said was right, and my superior officer didn't find it necessary to pursue this case.
Mm-hmm.
Let 5 or 6 people die without my knowledge.
Yeah,
that his boss has lost his job. There's no way his boss.
And that guy, and I didn't look him up because it was like a smaller role, but that character actor is always a jerk. I think in a lot of movies, or that's when you notice him the most is when he's a jerk because he does it so well. I mean, kudos to him. Why does nobody call him Special Agent Lacrosse? Why does everybody call him Frank when he walks in? He's an agent of the FBI and nobody calls him Agent Lacrosse, Special Agent Lacrosse. Even when they refer to him to other people, this is Frank. It's like, he's a special agent. He's his agent.
Because even at the beginning, Sheriff Buck kind of treats him like an asshole. I mean, Frank treats Sheriff Buck the same.
True.
So Buck goes, I'm going to call you Frank.
All right. But then everyone else calls him Frank?
And then he introduces him as Frank. So
I don't know.
It's just like, all right, I'm going to follow my boss's lead.
Okay.
Because when he first comes in, no one likes him because he does come off as a jerk. And it's not until he kind of, A, starts solving things for people, and then B, tells Buck, here's
True.
why I'm here. Here's why I'm an ass. It's because I lost my son.
One last thing. Well, I guess for right now, when you first meet Buck and Nate, when you first meet and they're at the hotel, that's when you first meet them. They come out of the crime scene.
Mhm.
They come out in the sun. They put on their 10-gallon hats and their faces are in shade. My note is like, I wonder if DPs and cinematographers hate 10-gallon hats, like, because they light the scene and then they've got this just blast of shade, darkness covering the face of their actions. They must be sitting there going, how the fuck am I supposed to deal with that? Like, I wonder if that's a big deal. Like, if they're just like, can we lose the hats? No. All right.
They probably set up the shot and then realize they're wearing the hats and then have to run the shot.
Because you're going to have a kicker come up to get them.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
All right, now I need to figure out. So let's run the scene so I can figure out how the reflection.
I'm just wondering if they just like they can't stand that. You mean they're wearing hats? God damn it. All right, fine. Like I don't know, like behind the scenes stuff.
If I lose the face, I lose the face. Okay. I'm not doing with this.
No, notice, Jeb, that when they put their hats on, I'm not going to be able to see facial expressions. So that's on you, man. That's on you. Okay. Camera rolling. Any DPs out there? I'd love to hear what your thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts about that.
That's
All right. So why don't we get into why we think it's forgotten?
because it's a massive flop. I think it's a massive flop. I just can't go anything. I mean, I think the things we talked about with the plot holes, I think there might be some people who really just can't get over those. I think maybe people didn't like nice serial killers back then, that kind of thing. like the
You think there's a believability of Danny Glover being a serial killer because he doesn't fit that what you've seen in cinemas of serial killers at up to that point kind of thing?
Probably. You're just like, Danny Glover's a serial killer.
Like he's such a nice guy, but he is so quick to kill his friends. Quick, and everybody loves him. Everybody loves Bob, but then he's just so quick.
The greatest guy I've ever met.
I think one of the reasons it's forgotten is that while it's a good movie, it's not good enough to stand out amongst the other films that are of this decade in terms of action thrillers.
The abundance of action.
Right. I think that it's good. It's good when you watched it, but it's not a movie that when you think about older films like that, it's not a movie that stands out because of a lot of the stuff that we just talked about. It's not strong enough where we want it to be strong enough. There are points that we really like, but those don't overcome the other stuff in the movie that's less than in order to elevate the film above other stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's a lot why reasons it doesn't get noticed much. Maybe Switchback is a bad title because it just throws people off, like that kind of thing. And the poster is terrible because the poster is a big head poster. And for those who don't understand big head posters, the poster's designed with big heads of the actors primarily just to get you in the theater because of who's starring in it. Go look at Harrison Ford movies that are not Indiana Jones. They're all big head posters because they're like, Harrison Ford's in this movie. You go watch it right now because we know you all love him. So that's why they do big.
All red. It looks like a hot poster, like it's like a hot set scenery.
Right.
And he's running on the train tracks, Frank's character, and about to get hit by a train.
Yeah,
that's not what the movie's about.
There's nothing in that movie.
I also think this is very close to the movie Switchblade in terms of time period.
Switchblade? You mean Slingblade?
Slingblade. And Switchback and Slingblade. I think it gives you this. It just sounds like a Southern kind of movie, kind of a thing. It is not a good title. It doesn't. Like Going West in America is also not a great title, maybe. Because like you said, it sounds like a drama. I don't think this is either. I don't know what you would call this movie, but I don't think the title helps. The poster doesn't help. The fact that it was a flop doesn't help.
See, I don't equate Slingblade with this film just because I constantly did the voice throughout the years after that movie. I love me some French fried potatoes. Okay, that was bad. But I always equate this film with Unstoppable, which is the Denzel Washington, Chris Pine thriller on the train. When Unstoppable came out,
it was like 25 years later.
It was 2010.
Yeah.
Unstoppable came out. I always think of Switchback. And when I think of Switchback, I always think of Unstoppable just because of the train aspect, even though they're not even on the train until the end of the movie. Switchback. But that's what I always think about. That's a big hood poster as well. It's just, I think the poster's not great. I think last week we didn't put this in the episode last week, but the Noises Off episode.
Yeah.
When I put it on Instagram story, it's like a terrible poster.
Oh,
it's like an awful. It's like I made that poster when I was 18 in Photoshop, and I used Microsoft Paint. It's such a bad poster. I don't think this poster, the Switchback poster, is as bad as that poster, but it doesn't do anything for the movie.
It's not interesting.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't catch your eye.
It's almost like you tossed it on the desk of like the third copy editor. Make a poster for this movie. I don't got time.
Yeah. I mean, I think the fact that it was a flop, so you didn't have enough word of mouth because not enough people saw it originally.
Mhm.
And I think, like you and me, I think we like it when we first watch it, and then you give it a day or two and you realize the plot holes, and then it's tough to recommend it to anybody else.
I mean, it's a 90s film. If somebody's looking for a good 90s film, I'll be like,
hey,
check
you
it
want
out.
some
It's all right.
nostalgia?
You might be
Yeah.
okay with it, but yeah, no. I
You like
agree.
90s films and you're sick of watching the same 5 over and over again, check this one out.
Yeah,
But you're going to find a lot of plot holes.
absolutely. I mean, we're going to talk about what we like about the movie, maybe don't like about the movie. But we always recommend you revisit
That's
it.
right.
That's basically Switchback.
Yeah.
All right, where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or ForgottenEntertainment.com, as we are part of the Forgotten Entertainment family. You can also find us on the social medias. Join us at the Forgotten Cinemas, the lobby on Facebook to talk about this movie. If you've seen Switchback, let us know what you thought about it. And wherever you're listening to this podcast, feel free to rate, review, and subscribe, because whenever you do that, it helps us to grow, which is cool.
And we're staying in the 90s next week. We're going to 94. We're going to watch Nobody's Fool, starring Paul Newman and Bruce Willis. Did you see that? Did you not see that?
I don't think
I know
I've
we've
seen it,
talked about
but
it.
I know of it. If
Yeah.
I watch a bit of it, I might go like, oh, I have seen this.
Forgotten Cinema is turning into the movies that Mike sees and Butler does not.
Field was older in the 90s. I was like 9 and 10, so
Field
I
watches
see a lot of
movies.
these.
Field watches movies.
I've seen a lot of movies now.
All right, man.
Now that I'm in the
Congratulations.
2000s.
Congratulations. That's a clap. That's a soul clap for you.
Now that in the 2000s, I'm your age in the 90s. Yeah, sure.
I can't wait for people to tell you how you're old. And
I didn't say you were old.
you sure.
I'm just saying there's a difference. In
Listen. I'm okay with my age because I got to see, like I told you, I got to see Jurassic Park opening weekend.
I saw Jurassic Park in theaters.
That's
my first one, though.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
I got to see Back to the Future 2 in the theater, and then the trailer for 3 comes on during the credits. I'm like, what? And because you didn't realize back then that movies were shot back to back, and I was so young, and it was just like, yeah, when's it coming? 6 months, stuff like that. So yeah, that was my story. Okay, I guess we'll see you next week. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema. Switchback! That's loud.